everybody. Happy Thursday. It's so nice to see you. I promised you 3 streams a week. You're getting 3 streams a week. Tomorrow's will probably be a Star Wars stream. Thanks, 80s Model. That's so kind of you to give some memberships. Tomorrow will probably be a Star Wars stream to go over all the news from the panel. I'll, of course, react and break down to any trailers they might release, but I'll do a live about the whole Star Wars panel. So very nice to see everybody. Hey, Christopher. So nice. I missed you too, Stephen. I missed all you guys. Hey, Francesca. Hey, Danny. Just so you know, the way it works, as always, is that during the stream, you can ask me questions about the topic at hand. I'll open it up to questions at the end of each section. And then at the very end of the stream, you can ask me anything that you would like. I'm going to try very hard to answer as many questions as I can, but I might not be able to get to all of them. Thanks, Alwyn. That's very kind of you. Thanks, Juan. You guys are very sweet. It's very nice to see all of you. You guys are the best. I love you. So the Star Wars panel is very early tomorrow, by the way. It's at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's because it's being held in England, London. Star Wars Celebration is in London, and that's an 11 a.m. panel for them. So, whoo, that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. Danny, I guess I could have done the Star Wars reboot story, the Harry Potter thing today. Maybe we'll talk about that when we get a little bit more news. That would maybe even eventually warrant its own video. But the stream has already been made, and so you can ask me about that, I guess, if you'd like, in the Q&A at the end. Hey, Audrix. Hey, Aiden. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started, everybody. All right, hold on. Story number 1. Boop. All right, so Chris Meledandre was doing interviews to promote Super Mario Brothers, which is an Illumination Entertainment animated movie. But he is now the head of all of Universal's animation. He is the head of, just like John Lasseter used to be the head of both Pixar and Disney Animation, Chris Meledandre is the head of Illumination and now DreamWorks. Remember, the deal for Universal buying DreamWorks Animation was that Jeffrey Katzenberg had to go. So embarrassing, but he's already quite successful. But I'm sure that hurt a little bit, especially if you've ever watched Waking Sleeping Beauty and you know how successful and how important Jeffrey Katzenberg was to revitalizing Disney animation. But he got kicked out of DreamWorks Animation, which he started, because he got kicked out of, well, he didn't get kicked out of Disney. He didn't get promoted. He wanted to have the Mike Ovitz position, and he didn't get it. It's just like Jeff Robinov left Warner Brothers. And, these guys leave, and, Katzenberg did pretty well for himself. Robinov was never heard from again, basically. A little bit, but not really. That's right, he is the Quibi guy, Mika. Oh, Quibi. That's what he tried to do after selling DreamWorks Animation. Didn't work out. There is a 4th Shrek, George. There have been 4 Shreks. Shrek 2 is amazing. In fact, I had such a good time watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a.k.a. Puss in Boots 2, that I watched Shrek 2 again, and it held up. I was like, this is a good movie. So let's do a poll. Which is your favorite Shrek movie? Oh, let's do it. Puss in Boots movies don't count because there's only 4 spots. Favorite Shrek movie? Although I'd be shocked if anybody puts 4 in. Shrek 1. Shrek 2. Shrek 3. Your first poll? Who said that? Christopher, your first poll? Nice. Shrek 4. All right, so you can vote on that there. So 2 was by far and away, I feel, the best. I predict it kills this poll. But let's see. I think the original Shrek is also quite popular, but I'd already watched Shrek 2, so I didn't feel like going back and watching Shrek 1. So anyway, so Chris Meledandre was doing interviews to promote Super Mario Brothers, and he dropped a little nugget. And that's that Shrek 5 is in talks with the main cast to come back. Now, I've been telling you, and I think a couple of other scoopers might have as well, that they have been working on Shrek 5 for quite some time, and that Puss in Boots 2 was kind of like a test to see if there was still interest in the brand. And thank goodness, while it didn't come out very strong out of the gate, It had 9 lives at the box office and on the ancillary market. It's still been in the top 10, which is fantastic. John, that's very kind of you. Oh, John says, can you please thank 80s Model for a gifted membership last week? I had chemo at the time and didn't get to thank her. Aw, John, I'm glad we can be there for you. That's very sweet of you. That's very moving, John. I hope you're doing better. I told you they were working on a Shrek 5 script, and at the very end of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, they have a very strong Shrek tease. You guys are all so sweet to wish John to feel better. That's really nice. You guys are the nicest. So, Puss in Boots 2 makes it very clear that they want to go and do a Shrek 5. And so I think that, you can see the cast there. Antonio Banderas is really the only one who has continued on as Puss in Boots. And in fact, Eddie Murphy was talking about that. Eddie Murphy was saying, "Where's my donkey movie? Donkey's a lot funnier than Puss in Boots," and I thought that was funny. But it's obviously Cameron Diaz and also Mike Myers. None of them are. I don't think any of them are the stars that they were at the heyday of the Shrek franchise. To be honest with you, let's do a new poll. All right, so let me close this poll. Hold on. So Shrek 2, as I suspected, blew everybody out of the water. It wasn't even close. 68% Shrek 2. What a movie. What a movie. All right, now I want to ask you who your favorite Shrek character is. Cameron Diaz did quit acting, but she recently tried to come back, although the rumor is that she's having a horrible time. But I bet all this money makes her feel better. And, voice acting is a different kind of thing. Who's your favorite Shrek character? Shrek. Mine's Puss in Boots, to be honest with you. Shrek. Fiona. Donkey. And then also Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots. Oh, I love Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots 2 is such a good movie. All right, so you guys can vote for your favorite Shrek character. Hey, Rogue Rach. I think that I think what really, really made Puss in Boots: The Last Wish so good, though, was the quality of the script. And if Shrek 5 is that well written, I love Gingerbread Man too, Jason. And I also love Pinocchio. And Prince Charming was hilarious. And so was the good fairy godmother. What's really important are the cameos. One of the great things about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish were some of the cameos. Florence Pugh Pugh as Goldilocks was amazing. John Delaney as, the Pie Man. That was so good. That was so good. So, that stuff is crucial. It's really good. But if the script can be as clever and as funny and as moving as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I would feel pretty good about that. And then also, I wonder what kind of animation style they'll go with. Puss in Boots had the Spider-Verse animation style, which we discovered some people don't care for. I think people would want Shrek 5 to look like the other Shreks, to be honest with you. So I would probably lean back in that direction. Although the last 2 Shreks were so bad, that maybe would make people a little bit nervous too, I think. I'd be like, the last 2 Shreks were so bad. Let's see. But as I said in my Puss in Boots: The Last Wish review, I see a future here for the whole Shrek franchise that it's like The Boys for fairy tales. Just like The Boys is, for superheroes, Shrek could do that for fairy tales. Be like a really strong answer to Disney's fairy tales. And there's a whole bunch of new stuff for them to make fun of. There have been a lot of movies since then. Like, imagine the fun they could have with Frozen, right? That could be pretty great. So I think it could be excellent. I'm very, very excited about this. Look at Donkey winning the poll. Let's close the poll. Eddie Murphy, get your movie. Come on down. All right, so wow, look at this. This is surprising to me. Look at that. 40% Donkey, 31% Puss in Boots, and then Fiona and Shrek way down at the bottom. Oh, maybe they should just make a Donkey movie and a Puss in Boots 3. But yeah, I guess Donkey and Puss in Boots should be front and center in this new movie. That's interesting. Shrek, dead last. Dead last! That's interesting. I think they've gone kind of as far as they could with Shrek, to be honest with you. Once he went human, where else is there to go? That was fantastic. But that's great. That's really, really funny stuff. But yeah, so we'll see what the script looks like. We'll see how fast they move on that. Animation, although animation takes a long time. Oh, a Donkey and Puss in Boots buddy movie, Dory does voices. Dory, you should be a Universal Animation executive, because that's a great idea. I'd be like, let me save some money here on Mike Myers and Cameron Diaz and just get the two that everybody cares about, quite frankly. All right. So does anybody have any questions about this? And then we'll move on to the next story of the day. You have to only ask me a question about this story. Save your general questions for the Q&A at the end. Mika, I'm not sure where Donkey's wife is. Dragon is important. Matthew's trying to fast forward. You guys are trying to fast forward. Look at you guys with your boops. 80s model, I'm sure Eddie Murphy is expensive, but clearly worth every penny as he's your guy's favorite character. Shrek in space? That's funny, Steven. I know, it has to be a fairy tale. Layla, I'm glad you made the live stream. Harley Quinn Dove Shrek 5 is greenlit. And Chris Meledandre said while the contracts aren't signed, he feels very confident that they're going to get them signed, which means the negotiations are going well. I mean, none of those people are working. What else are they going to do? I'm sure they'd all love to make another Shrek. Who turns down free money? Who doesn't want to do the press tour? Everybody will be excited. I mean, this is just a win-win for all these people. BM says a poll between the least liked of 3 and 4. No. I appreciate your enthusiasm, BM, but I don't. Who even remembers 3 and 4? Quite frankly, I don't even remember them very well. Shahar, Mike Myers just did that Netflix series, which was a horrible flop. Horrible flop. Green Lantern's Light, I have not heard what the plot is about. I just know that they were working on it and that they intended to do it if Puss in Boots 2 was successful. So I was telling you at the time, remember, I was like, man, this movie's got to do well or you aren't going to get Shrek 5. And it did. So, we did it. Huzzah. Juan Carlos said, do you know that Derbez did the dub of Donkey for the Spanish? Yes, Eugenio Derbez. I love Eugenio Derbez. What a great guy. Is he feeling better? He must be, because I haven't seen a follow-up. I know he was very sick before. I love Eugenio Derbez. He's a great guy. So we'll see. But this sounds wonderful to me. I'm very excited, so I can't wait. Oh, Logan, welcome. A surprise membership, Logan. That's awesome. All right. Asami, I'll try and keep the polls open a little bit longer. All right. We'll have a new poll for the next story. Let's get on to the next story. Hold on. All right. Boop. Okay, here we go. Quantumania. Now, Avatar 2, as you might recall, changed up the Disney post-theatrical release strategy. Up until then, all Disney movies, except for the ones who were made by what used to be 20th Century Fox, were released simultaneously on digital and Disney+. The last one to do that was, of course, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Oh, thanks, Green Lantern Light, for gifting some more memberships. And Black Panther Wakanda Forever did incredibly well on digital, which we recently saw when we were going over those Nielsen numbers on Movie Math. So we all felt that the reason they pulled Avatar 2 from this plan and went just to a digital release, and they still haven't even announced a physical release of physical media for Avatar 2, was because they were trying to avoid having to go have it simultaneously on HBO Max. And it's done quite well. Here I have a little picture for you. Ooh, graphics. And there's Avatar, number 1 on iTunes. It was number 1 a week before it even debuted because it was so successful. Brian, I just like your smiley face. That's cute. Katie Lady, that's a great name. So Avatar doing very well. And I said at the time, if this does well, don't be surprised if Disney continues to do this. And what do you know? It's happening. I don't know if Quantumania is the best test subject for this, but it's happening. So it was announced today that Quantumania will hit digital only on April 18th. Then it'll hit physical media on May 16th, and both releases will feature 2 hours of bonus content. Lots of bonus content. A whole nother movie. But when is it going to hit Disney Plus, if that's the case? That means to me it seems like June. Like it wouldn't hit Disney Plus until June. That's nuts. That's incredible. That's a very long time to wait. Now, this puts Disney in the same camp. Universal is the one that pioneered this. Universal was like, remember, they were the ones who were like, we're going to rush it actually to digital. Universal has had many movies recently playing simultaneously in theaters and on digital and done quite well in both spaces. And then they have it for rental. So the way it goes is it releases in theaters, then it becomes a digital purchase or rental for a very high price point. It's like $20 either way. I think Avatar you can only buy right now for $20, which is a very good price point for that movie, quite frankly. Then it goes down to like a $6 rental. Then it goes to streaming after that. Then it eventually hits streaming after all that. And remember, Warner Brothers, once Discovery took over, they decided to do what Universal was doing. Before, they were doing the Disney Plus model, sticking their stuff on HBO Max. Although apparently the rumor is that Shazam 2 hits HBO Max tomorrow. Will it? That's interesting. If it does, you should watch it. It's a pretty good movie, quite frankly. And HBO Max is just the right price. It might just hit digital, in fact. Maybe it won't go on HBO Max. Maybe Shazam 2 will just hit digital tomorrow. And if I were you, I would wait for HBO Max. I mean, it's a fine movie, but there's no rush to watch it. Why not wait until you can watch it for no extra cost? And I think a lot of people are going to do that with Quantumania. Now, Quantumania, the first time I thought it wasn't bad. It has no rewatchability factor. I went to see it again because my parents were interested in it, and they did not care for the movie. But I saw it again, and I was like, this is tough to sit through. So Quantumania, though, has a much quicker turnaround than Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out at the beginning of November. Then, you remember, it hit February, early February. It hit, I will do a poll. Hold on, let me do the poll. It hit Disney Plus and digital. So when will you watch Quantumania at home? April 18th, digital. May 16th, physical. Hold on. Disney Plus, whenever that is. And then not watching it at home. All right, there you go. There's your poll. All right, so, but that's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So that's like an extra month that it was being held. So Quantumania is going much faster. But I do feel that because of the quality of Quantumania, I think a lot of people will be able to wait. Quite frankly, they'll be like, I'll wait till June. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it kind of sucks for people who waited to see it in theaters. Who didn't see it in theaters. Like, a lot of people saw the reviews, saw the word of mouth, and they were like, I'm just going to wait for Disney Plus. But suddenly, instead of that just being a few months, it looks like it's going to be 5 months. So the question is, Disney is betting that while you might say now you're not going to watch it, you'll crack. You'll see it become available on April 18th, and you'll go, that's not too bad. I mean, I think it depends also where you are. For some of you, that's far more expensive than a single movie ticket. If it's only $20, let's see what it is. Let's see what the price point is. Let me go look. I mean, in New York City, for a premium ticket, it's cheaper to watch it for $20. Let me see where Quantumania is. Does it have a thing? No, let's see. Puss in Boots is number 4. That's amazing. Quantumania. It's not even on here yet. I don't know what the price point is. All right, so we'll see. But yeah, so I think that what Disney's trying to do is put the genie back in the bottle, close Pandora's box. Is that possible? They're trying to go back to a traditional release strategy. Now, I think that this might hurt their subscribers. I think that's going to be where it's a real issue. But it's really crazy. I think that, they feel they've hurt theatrical. They feel they've hurt their physical sales, physical media. And those are two very lucrative spaces. And they're not making any money on streaming. Streaming so far is not making money. Disney and everybody, Disney saw all the money that Netflix was making and they started their own service, and then every other studio felt they needed to as well. But that's right, Mika. Matt Damon gave a great speech about this, about the importance of physical media. And nobody's able to make money like Netflix does on streaming. And that's because Netflix has a different type of business model, and they really only do one thing. They aren't diversified like the other studios are. And also, I think Netflix is much stronger internationally, as we discussed recently. I think the studios are still very, I think, Western based in their media. And I think Netflix is making a ton of money from everywhere, including the Eastern audience. So it's very interesting. Paul says, do I think this is a good idea from a business perspective? I think I'll be curious to see what it does to Disney Plus subscription numbers. I think that there might be more churn, but if Disney can replace that with new content, original content, I think that it could work, and also I think a lot of people, Disney's in a unique position where a lot of people use Disney Plus as a babysitting service. So that's right, Mika, churn, baby, churn. But I think that a lot of people use Disney Plus as a babysitting service, so they'll be more likely to keep it. Will they drop down to the ad model? And I told you they're starting to do shows so that they can play with ads. I don't know. I think streaming is like on the verge of just turning into cable, and they're going to have to buy packages maybe at a certain point. But let's see. I do want Hollywood to be making money, because if Hollywood isn't making money, it trickles down and affects everybody. And then also, if they go back to the traditional model, it'll help people with residuals. And, a lot of people in the business, and in front of and behind the camera, make their money off of residuals. That keeps people, people are able to live. I was talking to someone the other day in the industry, and they pointed out that Vince Gilligan, who did Breaking Bad, he was living off of his residuals from, I think, like the X-Files or something still, or some other show. Might not have been that one, but Vince Gilligan had done a show from maybe it was, what was the one that started with an F? That might be the one. Fringe. I think he was Fringe. But anyway, Vince Gilligan had done a show like that, and he was living off the residuals of, Fringe, because he was living off the residuals of the show in syndication. And that was allowing him to pay his bills. And he was like, what am I going to do? And in fact, things were going so poorly for him. When he first saw an article about a teacher making meth in a trailer, his first thought, my friend told me, was that I might have to do that. That's what Vince Gilligan was thinking. He's like, man, I'm in such bad financial situation, I might have to make meth in a trailer. And then he said, well, why don't I write a show about that? And that's how he made Breaking Bad. So it's really, really interesting. And so I would love to see the residual model come back online. It's the lifeblood of Hollywood, because almost nobody works consistently. Everybody has large chunks of time where they're unemployed between projects. So if they don't have those checks coming in, it's really detrimental to them, and it makes it very hard for them to have a living. Hollywood, I know that there are big paychecks and you see these big numbers for the big stars, but Hollywood is a really crazy business. Like, for instance, SAG talks about the fact that 1% are movie stars, but 99% of the guild members have trouble living check to check. So it's really important. Residuals, that's why they fight so hard for them, and that's why streaming has really been so difficult for the industry. So let's see. So yeah, does anyone have any questions about this before we move on to my review of Air? Oh, that's very nice. You guys are all saying R.I.P. to Lance Riddick. He obviously passed away a couple of weeks ago, but it was revealed today that he died, I believe, of heart failure. It's very sad. Matthew, I have a lot of streaming services too. It's crazy. Let me close the poll. Yep, that's right. All right, so the poll was 51% of you are waiting for Disney Plus. You don't care how long it takes. You don't care how long it takes. That's funny. 39% of you, oh wow, are not even watching it. 6% are going to do digital. Whoo! And then 2% are waiting for the physical on May 16th. Don't forget, of course, that Guardians of the Galaxy comes out right in between at the beginning of May. Whoo, that's brutal. Oh, that's brutal. I hope Guardians of the Galaxy is good. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think the trailers have looked good for that movie. So, Disney's got to be a little bit nervous. They got to be a little bit nervous. All right. I think they're very nervous, in fact. Okay. Third story of the day. Hold on. Wait a minute. Here we come. Boom, baby. Let me review Air. I saw Air last night. As I told you, I had a family thing yesterday, and that's why I didn't review Air in advance, because I wanted to see it for the first time with my family, and it's a smaller film. So I decided to wait, and so I wanted to talk about it today. So I really liked it, and so for those of you who aren't aware, and I'm surprised that a number of you actually don't know what Air is, and I think that's on Amazon. This is an Amazon Prime movie. I know they worked very hard to make sure it got a theatrical release, and I think that's important for it, especially for awards down the line. It has tremendous critic score and a tremendous audience score. It's a great movie. Now, Air is about the historic deal for the Air Jordan shoe between Michael Jordan and Nike. Crucial, really important stuff. It defined a number of things which I'm going to outline for you, but no spoilers. So that's what the movie's about. It's a business movie, so of course, as you can imagine, I quite enjoyed it. So what's interesting to me, Chad, nobody really of note plays Michael Jordan. I had felt in the trailer that it was odd that Michael Jordan wasn't more a part of the story, but it's really more about his mother. And you actually never see Michael Jordan's face within the film. They use footage of him, but you never see Michael Jordan as a character in the movie. And you'll see why. It's part of the negotiating process. And I thought that was actually a good choice when I saw it. Because, he's the big star. He's the big star. His mother held him back. So I think that's good. Chad, I think that when you see the movie, it makes sense. When you see the movie, it makes sense. The movie's about Nike, and it's about Michael Jordan's mother, Dolores Jordan. That's what the movie is about. And the story goes that Michael Jordan, in agreeing to do this movie, insisted that Viola Davis play his mother, which is so great. And she does a great job, of course. So I think that's funny. I think that's really great. You never see his face. He'll turn his face away from camera. They'll cut it off. It's very intentional. Because who could be Michael Jordan? All right, so this is actually very much like Tetris, interestingly enough, which just came out on Apple TV. It's about a groundbreaking deal in the 1980s where really one individual was responsible for totally changing, well, in this case, it's two individuals, but for totally changing the industry. And so I think that's funny that Tetris got a lot of attention with the trailer, but is certainly not performing at the level of Air. I think that's partially because of the theatrical release. I think Tetris played in a couple of places in theaters, but not to this degree, not like Air is going to do. But I also think it's the scope. It's funny, Jen, you guys have the same birthday. That's awesome. I think the scope of the movie is different. It's also incredibly well written. I think that there's a lightness to the Tetris movie. It seems a little bit more almost sometimes. I think that Marv, Matthew Vaughn's company, has a problem with gravitas. And when you see the two movies, you'll understand what I'm saying about that. Also, this is just a better written film. Air is extremely well written, and I think that it does a better job of pointing out the importance. Tetris is more about having fun and being zany, whereas Air really underscores this moment in history. It reminds me actually more of Winning Time, the Lakers show on HBO, which is a great show. You should be watching that show. It's incredible. And this takes place about maybe a decade or a couple of years later. But it's funny to see that. Also, Jay Moore has a brief role in the film, and he's actually engaged to marry the daughter of Jerry Buss, who now runs the Lakers and is a character on that show. So it's very funny. It's very funny. This is all starting to get, maybe my interest in getting into sports started with Winning Time. Jeannie Buss, thank you, because I liked Winning Time so much. I'm kind of getting into the business of sports, and that's what's making me like sports. I'm like, wow, there's a great business here too. So it is almost like watching a play, and I think that's one of the nice things about seeing it in a theater. It is like going to see a really good play. It takes mostly in place in the Nike offices. It is a small movie, and you could maybe argue that you don't need to see it in a theater, but it's so well done and has such big stars in it. I think that you should. I think you should consider it, especially if you are like an AMC A-list member and it doesn't cost you any extra money to go. B, we're going to talk about Chris Messina in a moment for sure. So very good. It has an amazing soundtrack, by the way. A lot of great 1980s music. I actually got the soundtrack last night. I have Apple Music, so it was, it doesn't cost me any money to get extra money to get any music I want. So I added it to my playlist. It had good stuff. And then I thought that the commentary on Michael Jordan was really, really interesting. I thought that there's a great speech about Michael Jordan that was not only in the third act, there's a great speech about Michael Jordan that not only I thought was very kind to him, but was very honest about, things that have gone with him. I thought that was great. I thought that was really, really good. Michael Jordan can feel very good about this movie. And then also, as I said, it's a definitive moment for Nike. Change the game for Nike. I was wearing Nike sneakers when I watched the movie, which I thought was really funny. And when the movie starts out, you see just how bad Nike was in the sports world, in the sports shoes world. You're like, whoo, what a disaster! Like it was really, it was on the verge of going out of business, quite frankly. How this was, when you see how much money Michael Jordan made off this deal, his mother Dolores is a wonderful person. What she did for him and for athletes. This changed the game in athletes. Well, Michael Jordan changed the game in what a shoe could do. No shoe ever made the kind of money that this did until this happened. So it really is. It was just one of those great moments in history where two great things came together. And I don't want to ruin everything for you. It's just great. His father is in the movie, Yap Dem. And it's just very, very cool. To see how the perfect thing, it was a perfect storm. And it put Michael Jordan, I think it helped put Michael Jordan on the map. Some of the business decisions that are made here are so great. You're like, I love that. I love that. And also, they're all very mavericky, and I love that kind of stuff. I love maverick stuff. I think breaking the rules is awesome. I think that, I just loved it. I was like, yes. So that was just so great to me. And then also, I think it's so important. No, not his actual father passed away. It was actually, I believe, murdered, the movie pointed out. But it was a game changer for athletes getting participation in their own product instead of just an appearance fee. And that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, Matt Damon is the real star of the movie. It's his movie. He does a fantastic job. Great, great job. Really, really good. But I have to say, there were two other people that I really liked in the movie. Hold on, I got their images here. Chris Messina, who played the real-life agent David Falk. And if you're wondering, a number of you, when I tweeted about how good this movie was last night, some of you were like, why is it rated R? I'm concerned that it's rated R. And I was like, I couldn't think of why it was rated R. It was a lot of business discussions in offices. I was like, why is that rated R? That's because Chris Messina, as the agent, is very salty in his language. It's not bad. I mean, I don't think it's that bad, to be honest with you. If you really have a problem with swearing, and, a couple of male anatomy discussion talks, but just like in talking, then I guess, I don't know how you watch any television, but it would be hard, maybe you would take offense at this. But I gotta tell you, honestly, I was like, why was that rated R? And then I was like, oh, I guess it was because of this. But it was so funny. Matt Damon and Chris Messina's conversations were some of the best moments in the movie to me. And I thought it was a great depiction of an agent and what an agent is like. So I loved that. Chris Tucker, some of you are asking about Chris Tucker, and in fact, it was Michael Jordan also insisted that the person that Chris Tucker is playing, he insisted that guy be in the movie as well. Chris Tucker does a very nice job, but he didn't have he was great. He was great. It was so nice to see Chris Tucker again, but it wasn't like that kind of a role. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it was a good role, but it wasn't like a great role. Jason Bateman's always great, but I don't think he particularly stood out either. I think he and Chris Tucker, it was the same. You love them. They're so personable, but they just didn't quite stand out as much as the rest of the cast. So Matt Damon was great. Chris Messina was great. And then also I wanted to mention Matthew Maher, who was actually also in the Ben Affleck Dunkin' Donuts commercial that recently came out. The guy on the left was fantastic. He's been working in Hollywood for a very long time, and this was a great role for him. And I loved pointing out he's the guy who designs the actual shoes. And, he just lives and breathes making shoes. What is that called? A cobbler. He's a cobbler. And I love pointing out that that's also very important. All this other stuff is important, but you know what else is important? The ability to make a great shoe. So I thought that was really awesome. Now, as for awards, Ben Affleck, by the way, they do discuss The Swish. They discuss a lot of stuff. It's a great movie. Ben Affleck has a very small role. It's a fun role. He does a very nice job in it, but it's a very small role. He's very much directing this movie. Will it get him back in the awards conversation? Remember, right before he signed on to be Batman, he was at the top of his career. He'd won Best Director for Argo. It was amazing. He was a very respected artist, and I think he shows that ability yet again here. I don't know about Best Picture and stuff like that, but I feel like the movie is so well received, and I think also maybe part of it is a comeback for Ben Affleck, because he was, and I think that's one of the reasons he doesn't want to do any more superhero stuff. Besides the stuff that he said, I think that he's right. Jen McMahon makes a good point. They do need something between a PG-13 and an R. That's not a bad idea. Maybe S for seriously? All right. So anyway, come on, it's not bad. So anyway, they could call it H for HBO. Although HBO is like above an R. HBO is very, very aggressive on the network. But I think it's kind of desensitized a lot of us to that stuff. But at the same time, maybe you feel that's a bad thing, and I think it's important to be respectful of that. Hey, Cameron. So anyway, I think that this could get someone back into I think this could get Ben Affleck back into the awards conversation. So I think for script, this is the first script that Alex Convery ever wrote. Isn't that amazing? I think he's actually a pretty good candidate for best screenplay. And then I also think Chris Messina, maybe for supporting, and Matthew Maher I would consider maybe running a campaign for. I thought they were really, really strong, but Chris Messina in particular, and he's been also working for a very long time. He was great. He was really, really good. So does anybody have any other questions about Air before we move on to the Q&A section of today's video? Danny, that guy, Chris Messina, is from Birds of Prey. He was Black Mask's henchman and potential love interest. Hey, Jack, says, never catch the lives. Watched Air last week and absolutely loved it. Jack, I'm so glad, and you're excited for Shrek 5. This is the stream for you. Oh, yeah, Viola Davis, of course, Danny. Viola Davis's Oscar chances. I don't know. I feel bad for Viola Davis. I think she should have been nominated for The Woman King. I've never seen a woman play a general before and knock it out of the park. She was as good as George C. Scott as Patton. And so I feel really bad for her. I think that and I'm sure she feels really bad too. But she's an EGOT, so F everybody. F everybody, quite frankly. But I thought that was one of the worst things I've ever seen in Hollywood, that she didn't get nominated for that performance, to be honest with you. It was really bad. That they instead nominated Andrea Riseborough and Ana de Armas was really sad. Again, here you're like, and Viola Davis is so talented. She's just dunking here. She's like Michael Jordan. She's a great person to play Michael Jordan's mom, because she's the Michael Jordan of acting. She's fantastic. She was so likable here. And I think that it was great that I wish they'd used her full name more often in the movie. Like for a lot of the movie, she was Mrs. Jordan or Michael Jordan's mom, or the mom. And I wish that they had said, oh, here comes Dolores. Hey, Dolores. And, when I was watching it, I kind of felt that was another commentary that, women deserve, just because they might be doing it in a mother or wife capacity, they should get the respect, Dolores Jordan negotiated this deal. She's the one who came up with a lot of the key points that made it historic. And she deserves, oh, hey, Angela. Angela, I hope you're feeling better. And she deserves the credit for it. And so I'm glad that they were like, I think they should have hammered it home more. Dolores, 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 Dolores. So you know the name, Dolores Jordan. I would hate for people to walk out of here and be like, oh, yeah, Michael Jordan's mom is amazing. You're like, no, Dolores Jordan is a superstar. And she should go down in sports history. And I thought that was great. So she was wonderful. She's great. It was a very easy role for Viola Davis. I mean, not to take anything away from it, but it was not like a challenging role. She was just wonderful. And I think her star power really added a lot to it. She was fantastic. Al Blum, I do remember the Mindy Project, and I loved Chris Messina on that show. I think he's very personable. I like Chris Messina a lot. All right, any other questions about this? OCL says, I hope to understand why Jordan wasn't in the film. Because it's about the deal. I guess I'll just tell you one little thing so that you don't feel bad or feel it's negative. Michael Jordan didn't want to sign with Nike. He, in fact, really was against the idea. So he, really just was like, I hate you guys. You're losers. And so that's one of the reasons that, you don't hear a lot from him is because he had no interest in even talking to them. Hey, Sonny, says my first one, just to say I love this. Thanks, Sonny. That's very kind of you. Popcorn Roulette said, loved Michael Jordan talking about the real Dolores. And yes, they have a great speech from Michael Jordan, which I thought was really nice because, my mom still is my mom. He's like, my mom's still momming me. And he meant it in a positive way. And I was like, me too, Michael Jordan, me too. Moms, never stopped. And I think also, obviously the idea is become your friend. Capes and Tights, should I see this or Paint this weekend? Well, Capes and Tights, to be honest with you, I haven't seen Paint, but it's getting really bad reviews. And I can tell you for a fact that Air is a phenomenal movie, and many people agree with me, so I would check out Air. B agrees. Michael Messena says it's about deal-making, process, salesmanship, drive, and ambition. And I would also add risk-taking, the importance of risk-taking. There's actually even a really great exchange between Matt Damon and Jason Bateman about just that. Oh, Dancing Dog 60, always gifting membership. So kind of you, Dancing Dog 60. What is that, like a dog doing yoga? Is that your avatar? Hey, Dan, you just made it. That's right, Shahar. It is a perfect movie for BTT. It's right up my alley. I'm like, man, business and excitement and risk-taking. I love it so much. Ariel Knight says a lot of people don't know Venus and Serena Williams' dad's name. That's true. It's so sad, for many reasons what happened with Will Smith. But what about King Richard, right? Richard, people should know his name. That was an amazing movie. I loved that movie so much. I thought it was an incredible film, King Richard. And the slap just totally overpowered it. And people also were like, why doesn't it focus more on the Williams sisters? And you're like, they're producing this movie. They're fine with it. Melita! Melita, what a nice photo of you. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships as well. And you're a diamond member, Melita. I'm glad to hear more from you. But if you haven't watched King Richard, that's another great movie if you haven't seen it. I don't know if it's on HBO Max right now. Incredible film. And I think that, everybody knows the Williams sisters are really great, and maybe someday they'll make a movie about them. But I think that they wanted to pay their father back for what he did for them by making a movie about him. And I think that's really sweet. And I think that got lost a lot in the conversation, which is, even before the slap, which is too bad. Boy, isn't it horrible that people try and tell the Williams sisters how to feel and act? That's just, especially what Jane Campion said to them. That was horrible. Poor Williams sisters. And they keep their cool above it all. It's rough being a woman out there. I gotta tell you, I have my rough moments as well. I try not to say that it's because I'm a woman, but I do feel that element is there. So Marco, Jane Campion said something ridiculous about competing against men and that the Williams sisters didn't have to do. It was horrible. The Williams sisters were very gracious about it. That reminds me, though, about the thing with the sports thing with women's basketball. Hold on. We'll move on to the Q&A. I don't know if you saw that story about women's basketball. I forget, I think it's Angela something, and she was very upset. And I thought it was horrible that Jill Biden invited both teams to the White House. It's always been the winner for decades. Since there's been sports teams invited to the White House. I've never heard of the losing team getting to go as well. And the fact that, I think that Jill Biden undercut the team that won. I think she undercut the competitiveness of women's sports. It was awful. And I think that Angela, I forget her last name, I think she had every right to be as upset that she was. Maybe she shouldn't have spoken for her whole team, but I thought she was right to get that upset. I felt bad for her. Writer Boy says, Grace Rochelle Brown, I set my notification on and never know when you're live. I'm sitting on my couch waiting, and I see it on my phone. You got the notification, Writer Boy? I hope so. All right, so let's go to the Q&A section. Let me put that note. Hold on. There we go, Q&A, woohoo. Let me get to some of the questions that have already come in here. Oh, Fernando also is so happy to have been gifted a membership. I love the surprise gift. You guys find it sometimes. Thanks, J-Cut Productions. Stiltskin. I'm very curious on your thoughts on award shows and how much of it is actors winning for the nominated performance versus getting their turn. I think it's a mix. I think it's very much a political situation. I think that's why that's why you literally campaign for an award. So I think it's a mix. I think it's a perfect storm of those things. I think that sometimes the role is undeniable, and I think sometimes it is a turn. So I think it really does vary per win, to be honest with you. Thanks, Katie Lady. That's very sweet of you to say. Angel Reese. The Bayou Barbie, is that her nickname? That's fantastic. Yeah, I heard Caitlin Clark did the exact same thing, so I don't understand why. Jico, I'm not sure what I would like Shrek 5 to explore, because I thought the last two Shreks were so bad, but I have faith in the creative team over there since they did such a good job with Puss in Boots 2. Paul says, hey Grace, what are your thoughts on the new Mandalorian? I gotta tell you, I was planning to cover The Mandalorian yesterday. I was going to get up really early before my family event, and I was going to get up at 6 in the morning, and I was going to review that thing, and, because I had missed the week before. But I got up, I was so tired because I've been going hardcore since Sunday. Because, it was Movie Math and Secret Invasion, and then Monday was intense, and Tuesday was intense. I put up a ton of videos. So I was really tired. And then I got up, and I saw that The Mandalorian wasn't even trending. And I was like, F this man. This show is just a disaster. And then all the cameos were spoiled for me when I got up later after sleeping in a little bit and catching up on my sleep. And I was like, those cameos seem so ridiculous. I mean, I haven't even watched the episode yet, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might not finish covering the show. I mean, let's see. Maybe the last two. I mean, let me see what my Wednesdays look like. I think it's pretty clear. It is what it is. They do seem to be switching to Bo-Katan. Stephen Turner says, do you think we will get one more Little Mermaid trailer? Maybe for Guardians of the Galaxy. Any tea about when tickets will be going on sale? I haven't heard anything about that, but I do think you'll get one more trailer. I think we have to. There hasn't really been a music trailer for The Little Mermaid, and I think that's important. So I hope that they do that. I think we will. I'm almost sure. Let's see here. I got fast forwarded a little bit on the questions. Hold on a minute. Tay, I don't hate music. I just said I got the Air soundtrack. I like music. I'm not into music as much as I am other things, but I like music. Let's see here. You guys are called the Beyonders, DL McGrow. I like it. Hey, Beyonders. Zay says, hey, Grace, I sacrificed my member comment to ask if you have any The Little Mermaid tea. I'm so excited for the movie. Thank you for the wonderful content. Thank you, Zay. I'm afraid I don't have any new tea. I saw that they were going through it again on social media with the comments about changing the lyrics to the songs a little bit. I'll tell you one thing from that Entertainment Weekly article. They said that Eric was drawn to the sea and Ariel was drawn to the land. And I was like, that's brilliant. I can't believe we never thought of that before. And I think it's great. And that's the kind of stuff I look for in my live action remakes, having a more sophisticated look at the original story. I think that's just so good. And I'm excited for whatever Prince Eric's song is. Maybe it'll explain that and make him a little bit more interesting. But I do worry that the movie might have gone a little bit overboard in like the checking boxes kind of feel. I really want this movie to be successful. I think it's very important, but I'm concerned. I'm worried about it. I want it to be successful. Nate Jones, there have been no updates on Jonathan Majors, I'm afraid. The Quasar says, updates on Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame remake. They're not doing anything with that. Maybe they'll see how excited people got about that fake poster or fan-made poster, and they'll be like, maybe we should do something with that. But then everybody was so upset about Moana I don't know. They're probably like, what are we going to do, man? Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, will Joker 2 be a Godfather 2 or a Jaws 2 or a French Connection 2? Well, I didn't see Jaws 2 or French Connection 2. But you mean basically good or a letdown to the first. I think it depends how you feel about feminism, to be honest with you. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Oh, I'm nervous. Hey, Danny says, I missed your last live streams. Thank you for the hard work. Aw. What do you think about a more Bo-Katan-focused Mandalorian Season 3? Well, let's just say this. Pedro Pascal has gone on to do The Last of Us, where he's getting paid and he's doing a great job over there. I mean, he's getting $600,000 an episode. I saw some people talking about the pay discrepancy between him and Bella Ramsey, and that's ridiculous. He was coming off The Mandalorian. He's a much bigger name. He was a name. Bella Ramsey is now a name. She could probably renegotiate for the sequel, but she could pull a Jennifer Lawrence, and even if her contract stipulates her raise already, she can be like, I'm just not going to show up on set, and let's see how you feel about that. So she could do that. That's how Jennifer Lawrence got a increased salary for the Hunger Games. Even though her contract had stipulated and had a built-in raise already set, she just didn't show up. And she said, if you don't give me a bigger raise, I'm just not coming to set. And she got her more money. Good for her. Good for her. No matter what you might think about Jennifer Lawrence, that's really impressive. And she did a great job with that. But yeah, so I think that, he obviously has to go and make The Last of Us Season 2 now, which is getting ready to film. So he can't do any more Mandalorian. And they're saying they're going to do another, he could still do the voiceover, but you can see they don't seem to be so keen on that because this season his character isn't very much involved. So I think, they are it's just called The Mandalorian. It could be any Mandalorian. But I wonder what'll happen to Grogu. But let's see how the season ends. Let's see what they decide to do. I don't have a problem with changing. I think the tone of the show is the problem to me. I think it's just, it went from being like a really cool show to not a very serious show. When Logan Roy told his kids, you're just not serious people. I feel like the show is no longer a serious show. I didn't watch Beef Yet 80s Model, but I'm glad it was good that you think so far. It must be good considering the MCU hired almost everybody. Although if they don't have Ali Wong in Thunderbolts, I think that's going to leave a little bit of a bad taste, Brandon Garcia says, Grace, a few trades are predicting Lizzie Olsen winning Best Actress for the new HBO show. How was she in the first episode you got to check out? Well, Brandon, since I tweeted, I've actually watched 4 of the episodes. I have them all. I'll finish it in the next couple of days, and I do plan to review it. I think she's excellent on the show. I don't know if she'll win, but I wouldn't be surprised if she were nominated. We have to see what the field looks like. Let's see here. I don't know if I'll ever do a goth reveal. I don't even know if I have any pictures, quite frankly. Mr. Magic, I'm glad you're back as a member as well. Gavin says, hey, Grace. Been tuning in since 2016. Thank you. And I love the community you've created here. Just became a member. Thank you. I'm so glad. I was wondering if you'll resume coverage on the Mando Season 3 after the season finale. I'll probably cover the season finale. Maybe I'll cover it next week, but I don't think I'm going to go back and cover these 2 episodes. And I'm sorry that I have a hole in my coverage. I feel bad. But I'll be covering a bunch of Star Wars stuff tomorrow. And, The Mandalorian. And I really, part of me is complaining about the 3 a.m. drop time, not only because, and also I have to tell you, one of the reasons that HBO gets so much better coverage is because HBO also gives its episodes to press a couple of days in advance so that we can do our coverage and have it ready to go. And that also really helps them. But Disney's so concerned about leaks, which is understandable, although ain't nobody leak. Although the House of the Dragon episode's fully leaked, so maybe that's a bad example. And everybody already knew the Last of Us story. But a lot of the stuff, the surprises didn't leak for The Last of Us. Nobody leaked the surprises for The Last of Us, which I have to say is really great. So, I think Disney should consider that. I think HBO is really the model to follow right now in terms, and also other shows we get in advance. I get The Boys in advance. I can do a breakdown, but it's just really hard to cover a 3 a.m. show. Although nobody's interested in Secret Invasion either. So I'm nervous about that. Sabisu says, I can't believe Spider-Verse is going up against Transformers again. First movie opened up against Bumblebee. And this is a much bigger Transformers movie. We'll see how it does. Hi, Mike Cleary. Danny says, what are your thoughts on Aquaman and Wonka releasing at the same time? Aquaman moved up. I think it's nuts. But I think maybe let's see how The Flash does. But I think they know these movies are walking dead. Nikon says, which announcements are you the most excited, hopeful for Star Wars Celebration? Well, I'd like to find out what they're doing on the movie front. I'd like to find out what the movie's about, maybe. And I'm also very excited about Ahsoka. I hope there's a trailer on Saturday. Both panels are at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Michael says, Star Wars Celebration predictions. The IP seems lost right now. Yeah, I think it's in really bad shape. I've never seen Star Wars in such bad shape, quite frankly. But let's see what happens. I think, and I don't think anybody cares about Skeleton Crew. Maybe I'd like to see some stuff for The Acolyte because it's filming. And it, of course, has the star of Squid Game in it, which is very exciting, in my opinion. So it could be, I hope it goes well. Rodrigo says, I missed you too, Rodrigo. Can't wait for the Q&A to talk about Lizzo. We're in the Q&A. Oh, I love Lizzo. Bring her cameo. But her cameo in The Mandalorian was peak cringe. Still can't figure out the point of season 3. Yeah, I feel like these cameos were not good. And it's weird that Jack Black, when Jack Black was trending first yesterday morning, I thought it was for Super Mario. But how funny that he cameoed on Mandalorian the same day that Super Mario came out. So he's having a good week. Kind of. Yap Dem says, Tom Cruise will win an Oscar when he's 90. I think I don't even know. I don't think Tom Cruise will probably ever win an Oscar, quite frankly. Maybe like an honorary Oscar. Oh, Blue Prada, you changed your name from King Louie. Good to know. Good to know. That's a funny name, though. I like that. Blue Prada. Very cool. Very Zoolander. Let's see here. That's right. Kay Walton and The Mandalorian, to be fair, did eventually start trending. And it did trend for a long time, I think partially because people were like, what the F is this? It was a little, it's almost like The Mandalorian's turned into She-Hulk, where some people like it. Like in an effort to expand its audience, it's totally turned off its foundation, the foundation of the audience. And I think that means you've gone too far. Thanks, Amparo. That's very kind of you to say, Amparo. I like your photo, too. You have nice hair. Let's see here. Juan says, any Invincible Season 2 news? No, I haven't heard anything about that, but I am excited about it, very much so. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Jeremiah, I don't think I would get on Letterboxd. I don't think that's my crowd. That's more of like cinema. And I'm more about, the business and the pop culture and the blockbusteriness of it all. Faisal says, hey, Grace, wanted to know your thoughts on Phoebe Waller-Bridge possibly directing the next Bond. Loved her work on the No Time to Die script. I think big mistake, Faisal. And I like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. But everything she's touched has been in the movie space has been a disaster. No Time to Die was pretty good, but I think they have to go back to more of a traditional Bond. I think they should be thinking more John Wick Bond. And I think she's all wrong for that. Marco DeVecchi says, what do you think of John Powell as the composer for Superman? I don't know. I'm not too familiar. He says he made the music for How to Train Your Dragon. I don't really think of that music. I'm not like, oh yeah, that was great. Uncle Baby Billy, that's funny. Let's see here. Matthew says, Eric will sing How Far I'll Go for Moana. That's funny, too. He could sail past Moana. Marvin says, hey, Grace, John Wick 4 was good and Rambo 5 was amazing. I don't know why you gave both a rotten score specifically, especially Rambo 5. Well, I was pretty clear that I thought Rambo 5 was really horrible towards the Mexican community. And I thought that was really awful. So that's why I gave that a bad score. And I was pretty clear about it in my review, so you can go back and check that out. But I appreciate the dialogue, Marvin. Chandler Crumman says, this week's Mando was filler. It sure was. It sure was. David C. says, thoughts on the ladder scene, Gail's apartment, and Scream 6. Oh, I loved that sequence. I thought that was great. It was really phenomenal. It was one of the best sequences in the movie. Disposed Data says, what do you think of Mario's massive projected opening weekend? Let's see. It's early days. I think it definitely was strong out of the gate. Undeniably so. But 5 days, let's see. It's pacing actually almost on par with Sonic. It's like neck and neck. We're going to see who has the title of the biggest video game movie ever. It seems to me I could see some rivalry there in the comments between Sonic and Nintendo, so I think that's funny. And I'll be curious to see. I mean, I think that the bad reviews really riled up the fans and almost worked in the movie's favor. So it'll be a very interesting movie math on Sunday, and it will be going up on Sunday, even though it is Easter. Wanderdust says, how do bad movies from such popular and beloved IPs as Mario even get made? How is no one aware of the sinking ship earlier in the process? Well, I think that Nintendo had a very strong say creatively in the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I think that Illumination knew it was such a valuable IP that they were like, whatever it takes for us to get this. And it seems to have worked, at least so far. So Nintendo knows its product and Nintendo knows its fans. And I think it speaks interestingly to the size of the video game audience. And because we see all the time how much video games make, at the box office when they're released, and we're like, look at those numbers. My God, a movie would kill for those numbers. And I think that's fascinating. JJ Studio says, what's your quick take on the Harry Potter reboot thing? I think it's really bad that I think everybody wanted another Harry Potter movie that was like the characters grown up, but it seems that J.K. Rowling has created such a bad situation that maybe none of her original cast will return for her. So let's see what they decide to do. I think it's a mistake to do a show that revisits the movies, but let's see. Maybe I'll understand the story a little bit better. Harry Potter's still a popular brand, though. Ronnie says, any thoughts on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? Apparently the contract was for 3 potential movies. I saw that was like some big news that Jason Blum kept teasing, and then he was like, my big news is that this movie will debut day and date on Peacock and in theaters. And you're like, that seems like bad news. I've heard of Five Nights at Freddy's. I know that people are interested in that, but I'm not familiar with the original film or whatever. So it's hard for me to have my own thought on it as a fan. But there does seem to be some interest there. But the movie must not be that good if it's going to Peacock day and date. Buck's Basement says, Grace, Disney has to be looking at box office of Mario and realize they have a sleeping giant in Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. Maybe. I told you I think that Mario is like unwatchable if you are not into Super Mario. But apparently, a lot of people are into Super Mario. So it's fine. And I guess Kingdom Hearts is that big an audience. I mean, ideally, it would be great. I mean, I told you, I see everybody having a great Mario party, and I wish I could be a part of it. And I feel kind of let down and disappointed that, no space was made for us at the table who don't play the games. And so maybe, hopefully, Nintendo will take that note. But I don't know. Let's see. I still don't think it's going to make $1 billion. But, let's see. It's pacing with Sonic, and Sonic didn't get close to $1 billion. I'm not saying it won't be a hit, but I still don't think it's going to make $1 billion. Let's see here. All right, let me catch up. Did somebody just gift 20 memberships? Let me see here. BNH says, hey Grace, do you have any tea about the size of Meryl Streep's role in Only Murders in the Building? Is it a guest appearance or a main role? I'm not quite sure, but from the trailer, it looked like a big role. Faisal did gift 20 memberships. Wow, that's a very nice thing to do for the Beyonders, Faisal. All right, let me see here. Writer Boy says, I had a back procedure done today and just coming off the medication, so the typing keys are a little blurry. You're doing great. My question, did you read the new comic that came out about Storm and the magical wormhole power she displayed? I did not. What? I'll have to look that up. I hope you're feeling better after your procedure. I'm glad that you are spending some time with us, and I hope we're making you feel a little better. I have not looked into that. That doesn't seem to make any sense to me, but I will check it out. But thank you for the heads up. I read 2 great comics yesterday. It was like old times. I read Saga, and I read Fables. And they were wonderful. It was really nice. I think Marvel and DC Comics are in bad shape. The movies and the TV shows have killed the comic books, which is very sad. Ben Verona says, Grace, I almost never catch a live, so I just wanted to say how appreciated that you are. Thank you. That's very kind of you, Ben. Thank you. That brightens my day for sure. You guys put a smile on my face. Joello says, hi, Grace. I hope your evening is coming along nicely. How have you been enjoying the Scarlet Witch new comic run, and what's your thoughts on her joining the new Avengers team in the comics? Oh, I like that. I didn't know she was joining the new Avengers. I got to look that up. Maybe I'll start buying Avengers again. I buy her comic every month, even though I do not care for the story. But I like the art. I like Wanda, so I'm checking it out. But I feel a lot of the comics I buy these days are an obligation rather than something I'm looking forward to. Green Lantern's Light says, what's going on with the Thundercats or Gargoyles live-action movie? I needs it in my life. Gargoyles is not a bad idea. Didn't Jordan Peele say if he ever did like a big franchise, he wanted to be Gargoyles? That would be fantastic. Thundercats, they tried to bring that back. I think it's tough. You have to find someone who really wants to do it, I think. All right. Let's see here. Jewel Rodriguez loves Gargoyles. Juan says, hey, Grace, you keep saying that a movie has to be 4-quadrant to make $1 billion, but Joker wasn't a 4-quadrant movie, and it made $1 billion. Can you please explain this exception? Well, that's a good question, Juan. I think a big part of Joker 2's success was that it was just so successful internationally. And also massive repeat viewing. I think that also is helpful. And then also had strong political commentary, and it was a movie people talked about. So I think like something like Avatar, I think a lot of people wanted to check it out. I remember that was during like awards season, and I went to, one second here. Okay, so someone was trying to reach me, and I had to be like, I can't talk to you right now. I'm on the live. I think I was at the Edward Norton premiere for whatever that crap movie was that he made at the Lincoln Center. And when I was walking out, I saw a number of, so it was all industry people. And so we were all like, oh yeah, we're industry people, awards season. And I saw them all talking, and they're like, have you seen Joker? I thought Joker was great. And they were saying that to each other. And it was people you would never expect to see talking about Joker, you know? Like, it was all these industry insiders in their, like, cool outfits and stuff, and everybody was dressed, like, business casual. And everybody was like, yeah, Joker was really something special. And so I think that is kind of what it was to a degree. Oh, look at Miggy. Miggy, that's so sweet of you. I'm glad Faisal, one of his memberships went to you. Danny says, do you think Zoe Saldana can get an Oscar for Neytiri? I hope she gets more to do. If she just keeps crying all the time, I don't think so. Thanks, Poke. I love you too. Logan, did you see the new Superman anime with Jack Quaid? I saw that teaser. I thought it was too short and looked like it was for small kids. I wasn't feeling it. Bug says, I stopped reading my beloved DC comics years ago as it was just reboots. Then they went with the unforgivable Metal saga. I hated that too. After that, I couldn't keep up with the changes and gave up. Should I try again? Maybe. I don't know, Bug. I think the New 52 reboot killed it. It just killed all the nostalgia and the story that had been building up for so long, and it was really sad. And I think that DC Comics have never recovered from that stupid, stupid idea. All right, Mike Charlie says, can we do a favorite Walt Disney World park poll? Okay, we'll end with that while I do shout outs. Let's see here. Favorite Walt Disney World theme park. I love Disney World so much. Mine would have to be, I love all of them, but Magic Kingdom, there's just something special about it. If I could just walk on Main Street, I would be happy. We'll do them in the order of when they opened. If you're a true Disney fan, you know the order. I was looking at how long the lines are right now, and I got to tell you, the other 3 parks don't have enough rides. They really got to build more rides. I was like, they've only got like 6 or 7 rides there. No wonder the lines are so freaking long. Disposed Data says, rumor has it that Guardians 3 pre-sales are pacing below Ant-Man 3. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. Let's see what the reviews are. All right, everybody, let me just say hi to everybody. Let's move on to saying hi. What are you up to? What are you doing? What's going on? Jack says, waiting for pizza in Liverpool. It's at nearly 1 a.m. for a flight home at 7 a.m. Oh, that's awesome, Jack. You're having an airport adventure. Danny is being a gracer in Chicago. Thanks, Danny. So, Sunny in Leeds says, got neighbors over for a party, but sneaking away for this stream. From your own party? I'm flattered. That's awesome. Say hi to all your friends for us. Jose Garcia is getting ready to see Super Mario Brothers. That's awesome. You know, I have to tell you, if you have a great time watching Super Mario Brothers, I'm relieved. I mean, I know a lot of fans are really looking forward to the movie. So, I mean, I was just shocked at how much I hated it. It really was like torture to watch it. But I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So please, go have a good time. And I hope you do like it. Anthony says, knocking back a few while listening and watching my favorite YouTuber. Thanks, Anthony. John Casadilla said, got nostalgic and booted up Kingdom Hearts. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Logan Strange says, making my own Mandalorian helmet while watching the live stream. Oh, send me a picture when you finish it, Logan. And make sure I see it. I get a lot of tweets. Josh says, just got to the dance studio to teach. How interesting, Josh. That's so cool that you teach dance. Trisha says, in the hospital with a failed kidney. Trisha is always on here. We talk to Trisha all the time. My goodness, Trisha, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that you are better soon, and I'm glad you're on top of it. I'm glad you're hopefully in good care and you're at the hospital. Jewel Rodriguez says, my landlord is selling my house and I have to move. My goodness, everybody's having a rough time. You know, I was bummed, but I have a plan. It will be a fresh start in a new Vegas house. Good for you, Jewel. You know, I read something that Carol Burnett was saying this morning. And Carol Burnett, she just turned 90. She's on the cover of People magazine. And Carol Burnett was talking about how her daughter passed away many years ago from cancer. And she said when her daughter was in the hospital, her daughter was in a great mood every day. And she was very chipper. And the staff said that she brightened their day. And Carol Burnett said she asked her daughter how she could do it, considering she was so sick. And her daughter said, every morning I get up and I decide to be positive. And she said the key word is decide. And Carol Burnett said, I've been doing that ever since. And obviously Carol Burnett is fighting a lot of pain because she lost her daughter. So Jewel, I'm so happy that you made that same positive choice. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. But you know what? Turn it into a positive, and I bet this is even better for you. And one day you'll say, thank goodness I moved. You don't want such a crummy landlord anyway. Croc said, just got home from work, tuning in to the end of your lives to say hi, yay, and spend the rest of my day relaxing. I'm glad you're home, Croc. Allie Smudge says, building my Rivendell Lego in Ohio. What's Rivendell? While I listen. That's awesome. I have a Lego DeLorean from Back to the Future that I haven't started building yet. I bought it for myself at Christmas time. I was like, I want to build this, but I haven't gotten to it. Rashad said, at work in an empty spa. Oh, that's awesome. Blasting the live. Oh, yeah. Woo, spa party. Rashad, you're also in Vegas. Let's see here. SS Shahar says, finished finalizing my will today. Make sure you're, oh, wow, rough day for everybody. But I'm glad you took care of that, Shahar. Make sure your wishes are on paper. Very responsible of you, Shahar. Antonio Garrett says, do you think Chad Stahelski can direct a Bond movie? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know about that. Oh, John Castaneda says Rivendell is the Elvish kingdom in the Lord of the Rings. Oh, that must be an intricate Lego set. Jay Got Milk 555 says just finished lunch at work in Oakland, California. Oh, I hope it was a good lunch. And then Heather, I think it looks like we kept you company. Heather says just got out of dinner with friends. Oh, I hope you had a good time. CJ says having Chinese food right now at home in New York City, watching with the new sound. Oh, I have a sound bar too, Chad. You know, my power went out the other day, and it was a real pain in the butt to have to fix it. But sound bars are awesome. I hope you're enjoying your sound bar, Chad. RJ said, just got off, about to have some ice cream. Delicious. And Cam says, Grace, I'm going to go make some dinner and go to the gym. Thank you so much for all that you do. I've been watching you for years. And I'm so glad I joined the membership today. I'm glad you did too, Cam. Welcome to the party. We're having a party right here, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. It sounds very productive. And then Eliza says, about to fly from Melbourne to Adelaide to visit my big brother. Oh, what a fun time. Thank you, Corrine. That's very kind of you. Oh, Lloyd, you just made it. And Chico's about to see Super Mario Brothers. And Aiden is hanging out with his cat. All right, let me see what the poll says, and then I better get going because it's pretty late for me. It's almost 8 o'clock. Let's see here. Favorite Disney theme park at Disney World? Magic Kingdom, 41%. Oh, look at Hollywood Studios. Oh, that Star Wars land must have helped out. 26%. Epcot at 19%. and Animal Kingdom all the way down at 12. I guess my order would be Magic Kingdom, then Epcot. I really love walking around World Showcase and visiting all the countries. And I'm glad they have the people back working at the pavilions from the actual countries. That makes a big difference. And then I would go with Hollywood Studios. And then I'm afraid I only like the world of Pandora at Animal Kingdom. It's very hard to navigate Animal Kingdom. I don't think it feels like a park. So that's my order. So pretty close. I would just switch Hollywood Studios and Epcot with you guys. All right, everybody, I had a lovely time with you, and there will be a stream tomorrow to cover the Star Wars news. It'll be much earlier than this, but I'm not quite sure exactly what time. But it'll be pretty early, actually, because I'll be trying to go live relatively close. I'll probably do reactions. If there are any reactions, then I'll do a live, and then I'll do breakdowns. All right, everybody, have a lovely evening. Bye, everybody. Bye. It's so nice to see you. Bye.